on earth a woman can be in. And that's why the food tastes better, smell better. The people that don't like cooking for their family, that food be horrible.
Yeah.
But that woman that's in that's why everybody want to go Big Mama house. She throw down because she loves feeding her family because her feeding her family feeds her soul.
Yes.
And this is how you get soul food.
Yes.
Frequency. She can go in there with a little bit of nothing to come up with a whole lot of something.
A whole lot of something. We making magic, okay?
Do you believe in magic?
That's
In
it.
a young girl's heart, do you believe in magic?
That's why. So yes, thank you for this. I believe that, on a lot of these platforms, the misunderstanding is so much of the programming that we have been through. We want to study, we want books to teach us how to become ourselves, you know, like how do we get back to being the original people? And I think what is being missed from a lot of what you're saying is the spiritual aspect of it, which is once we really start to even just take the first step to stepping into our essence, once we recognize, right, we've been woken up and just start to really step into your essence, all of this shit just falls into place. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
what that kind of internal, those internal mechanisms can't be taught to you in any book. You can't study it. Well, you know what I'm saying? We're so used to picking up a book and studying how to do something or being taught how to be ourselves, so to speak, that's hard for many to wrap their minds around. You get what I'm trying to
You
say?
have you have some good instructional manuals on the processes, but what most people will run from it because if the title say self-help, they don't help themselves. Hell no, they're not finna read that shit. Crime drama, let me in. That's if they even that's even if they gonna read something. Give me some Ann Rice. You know what I'm saying? Some DC Andrews.
Dig that.
They want to read that kind of stuff. They don't want to read nothing that might induce them to rebel against the system. Wake up to how to wake up to their power. As you wake up to your power, they can't stop you.
Okay, so in real life, I'm like a life coach, right? So what I've found out, especially now, is so many people are afraid of their power. Isn't that crazy?
Because the system is systemic. This is systemic in the system. It was designed that way.
Hmm.
It's psychological arrested development. It's a child's behavior to their natural and innate talents being so wonderful that it draws the attention of others around them. This is a child's behavior that's carried into adulthood. The only reason it works is because the educational network is designed to render you to suspend critical thinking and practical problem solving for instructional ability to follow orders. All the way in the university. In university, if it's not peer reviewed, accepted reference, you can't use that.
Okay. Mhm.
Right? So now, no matter what you believe, you got to go find one of their people to tell you what that somebody else other than you believe what you just told them. So now you need some dead motherfucker to validate the living man.
That's
They
it.
don't believe you. They don't believe themselves. They know they lied to us and they think that we falling for the lies. But when they realize that we are not falling for the lies, that we using our real eyes to realize these real lies they've been telling. So we start telling the other people, it becomes contagious that we see the tricks and the traps, and that sets us free. Because even if you don't want to be free, your gate wide open, and the energy of freedom is magnetic. You're just gonna walk through that motherfucker. You're not staying in this cave. And this is the same trap. They psychological arrested development through a 12-step thinking detox program called modern education, set up by the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs to turn humans with infinite potential into subjugated workers with a desire to work to fulfill the needs of the person and his immediate family. And this is why they use the discriminatory tactics of racism, because those tactics is going to cause us to try to overtake their system according to the laws of nature. And that's how you end up with integration in the end. And it was the goal the whole time.
That's it.
The great melding pot. How do you get people that don't want to meld together to meld together? You tell them they can't. And then you give them some dumb reason and back it up by science.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? It's like, I don't know. It's the same pattern over and over again.
You back it up with religion.
That's so true.
You use religion to back it up. The same lie.
Mm,
They say God created somebody to be better than somebody else. That's not God. Who is this nigga?
that part.
My mom, God, no respecters and no for persons. Ain't no big eyes and no little U's. And my growth and development literature told me that ain't no big eyes and no little U's. So them two things coincide. I don't bullshit. God didn't make nobody to be better than nobody else. He just made them to be different.
That's it.
The skeletal cranial structure of Michael Jordan did not need to be the same cranial skeletal structure as William the Refrigerator Perry in order for them to both do great things in their respective sports. But if you would have tried to switch places with them, they'd have looked like some befuggling idiots.
That's it.
They both outside their element. As long as you use them in their element, you get the optimum performance anytime.
For their optimal good. Yes.
That's how you find your zone. Once you feel that zone, you can't go back. That's why one mother that's feels safe at home in the kitchen and she looking at her babies playing and playing on their gadgets on the couch and she's scanning the room and then she see her significant other outside doing whatever with the damn dogs and then she realized this is home.
Yeah.
That energy hit, blah.
You even breathe different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you start nesting and everybody start accusing you of have OCD.
That part.
They don't know you live walking in that divine mother energy, and it might look like OCD because they had to tell us that the woman in that love energy like that is something wrong with them. That's nesting. The higher the motherly frequency and that love of the being a mother, playing that mother role is, the more you're gonna nest. You're gonna be pruning, making yourself up your way.
That's
You
it.
might want feathers in your hair That flower you picked off your own garden this morning, it was so pretty, it looked good right here behind my ear today.
That's it.
That's that energy. Now, if all of the women can be safe in that energy, the whole energy of the planet shifts to having, but they can't feel safe because the warring patriarchs have the energy upset with the bloodletting rituals. And that's what the communion at the church is, and that's why you was born a sinner. It's a sin right.
Wow. Yeah.
Babylonian blood magic, simulated cannibalism ritual. In the spirit realm, the energy is the same. Eat of my flesh, drink of my blood.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep.
Donald J. gonna announce it. It's gonna be big. As he say, he don't say it's gonna be big. He said, could be huge. Gonna be huge.
You know how he talk. You know how he talk. Yo, you know what I want to show you too, Rod? A brother gave me this at the gathering, man. He gave me an eagle feather, man. This brother, what's the brother name? I got it. Windwalker. I didn't remember his name last time. I'm gonna have a brother on the show. The brother name is Windwalker, and he gifted me a eagle feather. So I want to give a shout out to Windwalker. I thought about Rod because you know what Rod is chief. So I was like, oh, I was very thankful, man. But thank you to the brother Windwalker. He's one of the groups that represented at the Million Man March in '95, I think, when Farrakhan had it in DC. So shout out to that brother, man, and shout out to everybody out there representing the land. You know, Rod, man, we got an important show tonight. Our people know a lot about the Bible. The Bible is a book that any hotel you go to see a Bible. You go to anywhere you go, pretty much a Bible's everywhere. Wherever you go, there's a Bible somewhere. So everybody's familiar with the spiritual text that we know of as the Bible. People are familiar with the Quran. People are familiar with some other books like the Book of Enoch, things like that. One spiritual text that I would say the Black community isn't very familiar with, that other communities are familiar with, Indian communities, the Bhagavad Gita. And being that we were a global people, being that at one time on the planet, when you looked around, it was a whole lot of brothers that looked like us or darker. Being that we are an ancient race, it's time for us to dive deep into these ancient texts that could be of great, tremendous help to us during this awakening. As you say, something's about to happen in a disclosure. These texts could awaken stuff in us, Rod, that has not been awakened yet. I know you dive deep into a lot of these spiritual texts. One of the sharpest brothers I know when it comes to ancient history. So let's talk about this Bhagavad Gita, Rod Hayes. Let's talk about the characters in it, the purpose of it, and what can we learn from it? Let's talk about this Bhagavad Gita. I heard Sadhguru talk about it on YouTube. What is your opinion and what's your take on the Bhagavad Gita, Rod?
So the Gita is actually an excerpt from a larger text called the Mahabharata.
Mm.
And in India,
what was the event early this year that ushered in the golden age? What was the name of that again?
It was called the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata. Okay, and so that's the Mahabharata, and the Bhagavad Gita comes from the Mahabharata,
right? Which is a much larger text.
Okay.
There's also, yeah. So they have the prime text of a lot of. So Hinduism is not really a religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on more your caste and which spiritual school of thought you espouse because of your family line.
Right.
When you look at the overall text,
mm-hmm.
right, they got chapters called sutras.
Mm-hmm.
The Bhagavad Gita is it's a narrative of a story between the charioteer named Arjuna, who's talking to Lord Krishna. Right now, if you know in Kemet, we have what's called KRST, Karast. Krishna is the Hindu variant of the same energy, right? So it means the anointed. And the anointed is the one who raises the sacred secretion. The physical anointing is done by the women in the clan with the oil. So now in Christianity, they use olive oil. But in the ancient cultures, they use the oil of the alligator that they get from the alligator's brain, his cerebral spinal fluid. It looked the same. Then some over here, they use alligator oil, right? All these oils is to symbolically give you the spiritual initiation in the physical world that matches your spiritual initiation in the spiritual world. So as you anoint the child, as he grow, he's going to be looking for markers that's going to allow him to activate. So he's going to become the Karast or the Kursna, and he's going to be the heir apparent to restore Earth at the close of the age. This is the story where Krishna explaining to Arjuna that, so Arjuna asked him a question early in the text about why do he see family members that's taking up both sides of the war against each other. And Krishna goes on to explain to him that in spiritual war, some of the people in our family in a past life was probably our mortal enemy. And it shows up in the spiritual conflict when you're looking at it with a spiritual vision.
Okay.
So Krishna was able to see spiritually, and he was able to recognize what Arjuna was looking at and explain to him. And he go into a lot of other what they call wisdom teachings. The basic premise of the book is to explain the spiritual warfare and the battle on earth between what we say men and angels, or angels and men, gods and men, mortals and immortals, right? So all of that is those ancient war scrolls. There's a lot of them in India, but they're not even all written as if it's a war dynamic taking place. Some of them are written as spiritual teachings, but it's still part of spiritual warfare.
Right. Now, who else? Who are some of the in the Bible? You got the characters in the Bible. You got Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Mary. Who are some of the characters in the Bhagavad Gita?
It's the two main characters. The two main characters is having a discussion, right? So it'll put you in the mind of the Machiavelli Art of War, where you have a military philosopher that's having a conversation with a battle-tested military general. The philosopher gained his rank in general by going through military training in military school, where the general came up in the ranks from a soldier on the battlefield to rise through the ranks as a general. And the Art of War, Machiavelli, is this dialogue between the two to understand how the one that was on the battlefield see the battlefield different than the one that was trained in the boardroom or in the battle room, the war room.
And who's the two having the dialogue?
So in the Bhagavad Gita, is Lord Krishna is having this conversation with Arjuna about the spiritual warfare. Right. And the comparative analysis was Prince Niccolo Machiavelli's Art of War, where he wrote it for Leonardo Piero Medici when he was rising to power in I think it was Italy.
You know, a lot of people when they think about the Bible, they look at the Bible as a prophetic book, and they talk about revelations and how a lot of things are coming to pass. Is there text in the Bhagavad Gita that you could look at modern time and look at 2024 and say, damn, Bhagavad Gita is right on point with what's happening right now?
The spiritual warfare aspect, because even now when the ones that's the chosen ones begin to speak out and tell what they know, you have family members that want to silence them, right? We call them matrix agents, right?
Right.
But really what it is they programmed by the world, and the ones that's the chosen ones is programmed to do a job for the world when they get in the world. Right. So the it's a lot of different wisdom teachings in there. Arjuna and Krishna being the main characters, but they do talk about, they call other names of the people they looking at while they're giving the discussion, but the main characters are still Arjuna and Krishna.
When we talk about the spiritual war, just to use a modern example, I forgot who I was interviewing the other day, and we might have been talking about, what's the young brother name, y'all? We was talking about the archons. What's the young brother name?